Alright, we back on game. I want to say this right now. A lot of you know that I wasn't even going to do videos this week. I wanted to take a break, you know what I mean? I wanted to focus since everything that's going on right now. However, with the news that came out, I had no choice but to do videos, you know what? And I plan on taking off next week. But you know what's going to happen? I'm going to end up doing videos then too because all the news is still coming out. I guarantee you that's what's going to happen, alright? No chill whatsoever, is it? No whatsoever. You know what? Let's just get started. I want to start with Polygon. And I know, you should know by now. Alright? Because I know you're already thinking it. If the event started with Polygon, they must have fucked up. Yeah, they fucked up. They always do. You know, I'm getting real tired of trying to use us black people as, you know, as some type of, you know, meal ticket. I really am. You're just piggybacking us at this point. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, they made an article how black developers are speaking out, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to put the link in the info bar. It's the archive version, alright? But I want you to read the comments. Because it's not just Polygon in general. Our gaming community in general. This is how they see us. It's absolutely ridiculous to see those comments and that's how they feel about us black people who are playing video games. But that's not all, okay? They have black developers speak out, which is the, you know, if they want to speak out on their own terms, I understand how it feels, you know, to be a black developer in the industry, alright? But I'll put it like this. You should know by now that not one black person speaks for all of us, alright? Because we all have a different experience. And that's the sad part that we're seeing right now. So I'm going to show you a little, just a small part of how black developers, when they speak up, fuck up. Alright, now this motherfucker is lying. This is what I mean about you can't speak for a broad audience, because it says, in poor urban communities, as I'm reading it. I want to start with this, alright? It says, the first iterations of PCs, before I go any further, alright? We're going to stop right there at PCs. Lying. And I'll tell you why, alright? How many people remember going to school and playing on those computers and playing Oregon Trail? Or if you were an MG, which meant mentally gifted at the time, they had computers set up for that specific class. There was times where if the teacher didn't send you to MG, you had to sneak in just to do it. No one did that back in 2nd and 3rd grade? No one did that. Am I the only person? You've got to be kidding me if I'm the only person that's ever played the black and green version of Oregon Trail. No, I'm not trying to hear that. Alright? See, this is what I'm talking about. You can't sit here and say this. On top of it, you also had friends who could afford this stuff. Not everyone was just super poor in the neighborhood. That's not how it worked, alright? But let's move on, because I can tell you there's so many Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego games. Like I said, we've talked about this time and time again when it came to old school PCs, alright? It is, but I want to go on. First iterations of PCs and consoles like the PlayStation. Okay, I'm going to stop you there too, alright? The PlayStation didn't come out till about what? Late 90s, early 2000s, the first PlayStation? No, I'll say in the 90s. I'll say that, alright? Because I'll put it like this. I'll say mid to late 90s. I'll say that. Because in poorer neighborhoods, at least in my neighborhood, alright, people would do just like they did with Blockbuster back in the day. Because for those who don't remember, alright, Blockbuster, you could rent the consoles. Alright? First iterations of consoles like the PlayStation. No. Let's not start that. Because everyone was still high on Super Nintendo. Let's not forget that. And arcades were still huge. Alright? So for people to say they missed out on the PlayStation, they were too busy playing in the arcades. That's why. However, people could rent those consoles. You could. Just like any other game on Blockbuster, you can rent the console for a number of days. Usually it was 3 to 5 days, and then you bring it back. That's what you could do. Okay? With the game. I remember I worked hard to get my first PlayStation. And I remember I bought my PlayStation, and I got Mortal Kombat Ultimate. That was my first game for the PlayStation. Alright? But the first game I ever played for the PlayStation, I remember when my friend ran the system from Blockbuster, was Extreme Games. That's what he got. They didn't really have much. And we used to do the street luge games, you know, just lay down and luge. That was great. So it goes to show you that you cannot speak for everyone in this situation. There are so many people in bad neighborhoods that had access to a PlayStation or to a PC. You could, like I said, even if you couldn't afford a PC, you could go to school and still play that type of stuff because they had those games. Don't tell me that your school was just so poor that they didn't have them. So for this person to sit here and say, in poor communities, you do not speak for all poor communities. That's where you fucked up. Now, speaking of more fuck-ups, I want to talk about the game developers I mentioned for a minute, alright? Because for those, for everyone to say how they're united and how they're just against harassment, they sure as hell like to take shots at Gamergate. So y'all handing out cards at the GDC saying, actually, it's about this. Actually, it's about this. And that's awesome because, it's a play on what they're talking about. Are you that's the maturity level you have right now? Really? Then you wonder why people don't like y'all right now. That's the maturity level you handle. You want to be treated like an adult, but you don't want to act like one. It's actually pretty fucking pathetic that you would do that. But that's not all. Then we gotta have Movie Bob come out and try and label Gamergaters as skinheads. So you try to make the comparison to skinheads. Did you really just try to pull that off, Bob, and fail miserably? All right, let's get into this, all right? But pretty much what Bob is trying to say is because he's labeling Gamergate a hate group, you know what I mean? So they shouldn't be allowed to be hired at conventions and things of that nature. Well, if that's the case, then a lot of people that are on your side, Bob, shouldn't be allowed to be hired. They shouldn't be allowed to do panels. They shouldn't be allowed to be, let in the door at a convention. Like your racist-ass friend Arthur Chu. Matter of fact, if you say, hey, we shouldn't welcome any hate, then you shouldn't be allowed either due to the fact that you're using hate as a platform. You see how that works? You see how easy that was to knock you down? See, this is the bullshit that we have going on here. And it seems like no one wants to put themselves in check before they talk. And I say this because even more lies come out about Gamergate. So where's your proof? I'm wondering where your proof is on these allegations because, we have proof of Zoe Quinn doing it over at Wizard Chan and nothing happened with her and you back her to the moon. But all of a sudden, you want to sit here and lie and say, well, Gamergate did this, all this type of slander, without any proof. See, that's the problem that we have today. We have people who just want to run their fucking mouth and try and slander people, or just groups in general, and just think it'll stick. This is the sad part. This is what they have come to when it comes to trying to have some type of defense, when it's not a defense. However, I will say that Arthur Chu takes the cake in this one. You know what, matter of fact, I think Arthur Chu pretty much exposed himself of how much of a gamer he really is. And this is where the telltale sign of Arthur Chu comes out of being spoiled, being entitled. Because you want games, it says here, that aren't really games. That's what you want? Really? Now, I'll put it like this. If you don't want games, if you want games that aren't really games, how about this? Why don't you just go read a book? Or go watch a movie if that's the case? I don't understand this. And I would call you a casual, Arthur Chu, but you know what? Even casuals know who Kratos is. Never played God of War confirmed, but thank you Arthur Chu for playing even though you didn't win this round because as far as I'm concerned, if anything, you just proved that there is equality when it comes to those type of games. You have your Kratos and you have your Bayonetta, so it satisfies both sides. But I'm sure because the way Bayonetta is dressed, you're going to sit here and say, it's all for the men still. Stop. Just do yourself a favor. Go sit the fuck down. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm still trying to figure out how you're still relevant. Are you even relevant? I don't know. I guess you still make these type of stupid fucking tweets just to stay relevant so that people like me can just knock you back down. But it doesn't make any sense that you would do. I mean, seriously, for a person who's supposed to be smart, even though we all know you're nothing but a parrot, you're supposed to be so smart, you think that you would do some research. And speaking of research, Brianna Wu, let's talk about this right now. Apparently she made a stand, that's right, she made a stand at the GDC and compared herself, because at first I thought it was to Malcolm X. No, she compares herself to Martin Luther King. Thank you, Brianna Wu, for exposing yourself as well, because for people who don't understand, okay, when you see these SJWs entitled, spoiled SJWs, because let's be honest here, they come from money, okay, and they want to talk about civil rights, and the first thing, the go-to guy every time they talk about civil rights or comparisons is who? Martin Luther King. You never hear him talk about Malcolm X, you never hear him talk about Huey P. Newton, no. It's always Martin Luther King. I find it funny that someone like Brianna Wu would say something like that due to the fact that I don't recall Martin Luther King saying, hey, I'm a victim, give me money because I'm a victim. I don't recall that. I don't recall Martin Luther King getting caught harassing himself. No, I don't recall Martin Luther King saying, you know what, I need money so that someone else can handle my Twitter account or my affairs for me because I just can't get back to work with all this harassment. That's bullshit. And you know it. Granted, Twitter wasn't around at the time, but Martin Luther King didn't need other people to handle his affairs for him. It's that simple. And for her to sit there and say something like that, when you are nowhere near Martin Luther King levels, I don't see you out there marching. I don't see you getting your ass whipped and carrying on. I don't see the hoses and the dogs being turned on you, no. Instead, you are sitting at home, talking to your media buddies, or in your little safe haven in your conference where there's security, because you got to try and find people to be your security. Now, this is where you have to go. And I find it funny because at the GDC some more, okay? Apparently, Brenda Romero at this panel said, she was quoting other women in gaming and said, games were supposed to be a fun career choice. Now, I'm afraid of my life. Really, you're afraid of your life. And at the same time, they're saying there needs to be more women in gaming. You know who's not afraid of their lives? Women in gaming. And for those who don't know, I'm talking about proudly over at Ubisoft Montreal. This is the female staff over there. Yeah, let's overshadow those women though. This is what I mean about sometimes people don't know to shut the fuck up. And this is one of those cases where these people need to shut the fuck up. But they just don't for some reason. Brianna Wu has talked herself so much now that she's put herself in a corner. Because even her own people don't like her now. That's right, her own people who supported her. That's right, who gave to her Patreon, who, followed her and tried to, be encouraging to her. They don't even like her anymore. Because for those who don't know, she went and had a meeting with apparently a Gamergator or whatever, okay, at this point. And she said that she turned him into an ally, and allies like these are what we need, and people did not appreciate that whatsoever on her side. And they started talking shit about her, and they decided to walk away from her. But wait. There's more. Please, let me show you more. That's right, because for all these women who talk about, in video games, women are being objectified, they're being sexualized, and they want to fight against that, in a fantasy world, because that's when it's supposed to happen in a fantasy world. They want to sit and say, that's wrong of you to do. However, at the very same conventions that they go to, they have no problems with women being sexualized or objectifying themselves with women dancing on poles. Somebody want to explain to me why at a game developers convention, a convention that celebrates games, you have women on poles? I'm just wondering, because I have to ask this, because they're so worried about the fake women in video games and how they're portrayed, but there are real women in front of you that you're not even speaking about. I don't know how this makes sense. But it's not supposed to make sense, right? Because you really don't give a shit about women in gaming. You just want to push your platform and get paid. That's what it's all about. And speaking of this platform, I guess we should just, address the elephant in the room at this point. Tim Schafer. Let's have a little talk real quick, shall we? I cannot believe that you decided, and for those who say it's just a joke, I'll get on that in a minute, knock that shit down too, alright? I cannot believe you decided to take the time, mind you, at a convention to celebrate gaming, you decided to go out of your way, alright, and specifically target minorities in gaming. That's what you did. You're a racist joke. Yeah, let's explain now, but you know what? Let's just show exactly what he said for those who didn't see it.
Visual art for games becomes more and more complex. Whole teams are required to create assets for games that historically were made by a single artist. These days, it could take up to 8 people to make a single piece of armor.
Oh! How many Gamergators does it take to make a single piece of armor?
Oh, God, I don't know.
50. 1 to do the modeling, 1 to do the materials, and 40 to tweet that it's not your shield.
Okay. Again, I cannot...
The pathetic part about that is, he actually had people who cheered at that and laughed about that. You have to understand, see, because Tim Schafer's never been in that situation where it comes for people who have been fighting for, fighting against oppression. Yeah, he doesn't know what that feels like. You have to understand that. So, when we sit here and say that, not your shield because we don't want you to use us as a scapegoat, as a platform, all right, to fund your own stuff, as we've seen, we've also said that, hey, we do exist, but every time we say that, we have to sit and provide photo ID for that. So pretty much, we're fighting just to be on a human level. However, he doesn't see that. No, he just thinks it's funny to go make that type of joke. And then people say, well, it's only a joke, you shouldn't go that far. Well, that's pretty funny, because you know what? Even their side says it's not okay to joke. Macintosh himself retweeted it. Was that all your defenses going? That's what I thought. And when this happened, you have to understand that people in droves went after Tim Schafer and was like, you're a dick, I am a real person. What they do? Block each and every one of them. Start using the block bot. I find it amazing how people can talk shit online and use a mass block bot at the same time. It's absolutely ridiculous. People are telling Tim Schafer, just like I'll say to you, Schafer, say it to my face. I guarantee you, you won't. And that's what it comes down to. You just say it on Twitter or in the confines of your little conferences with all your little buddies around because that's where you feel safe. That's where you feel comfortable. And then to turn around, because for those who don't know, all right, this guy has money. Turns around, and says, us indie devs, you can't just harass us like this. We don't have any money as it is. Really, Tim Schafer? So, taking shots, racially charged shots, at people of minorities in gaming, of not your shield, it goes to show that even you don't know what gaming is all about. Because no matter your ethnic background, no matter your gender, it always comes down to games. And it always comes down to how you play those games with said people that you can bond friendships with. But instead of focusing on that narrative of things, no, they still have to come up with more assumptions. Like this clown who says that he's never seen an anti-Gamergator also being a pro fighting player. How about this then? I'll body you right now for free in Skullgirls. Matter of fact, I'll body you in King of Fighters. Matter of fact, I'll body you in any Street Fighter version before Street Fighter 4, because I don't have Street Fighter 4, alright? Matter of fact, Black Preon, who's, Gamergate, he'll body you in Guilty Gear. He'll body you in Injustice. He'll body you in Mortal Kombat. Matter of fact, Rockaway Carter is Gamergate. He'll body you in Guilty Gear. He'll body you in, for real, he'll body you in Ultimate Marvel Capcom 3. He'll body you in King of Fighters. Matter of fact, we could talk about Blazing Ace Nelson, who will body you in Guilty Gear. You don't want that, do you? No. We can talk about Oliver Campbell, who's seriously pro Gamergate, will body you in Guilty Gear. We can talk seriously. We can go on and fucking on if you want. Okay? We can talk about Boat Strike, who would body you in Night Under Birth. He'll body you in, what's the other one? Blaze Blue. What do you want? It's that simple, son. You don't want to go up against the fucking Wrecking Crew. Matter of fact, in May, we'll be at MomoCon. If any of you feel as though you have the heart to say this shit to my face, we'll be there. I don't even need them. I'll be there. How about that? In May, in Atlanta, at the tournament. That's right, because we're competing in the tournament. Gamergate, not your shield. How about that? Now I want to move on to more fighting news. Let's get into this. For those who don't know, Dominion, speaks his mind in the Euro competition over at Winter Clash. And he played against a female. Oh my god, a black male in gaming playing against a female? Let's actually see the photo of it. But the women, though, constantly harassed all the time. Matter of fact, I'll put the link in the info bar to the full interview and the video to this. That's right. Now, I want to move on to more fighting news. Smash fans, Leffen has become Team Solo Mid's first Smash sponsored player. So I'm sure you guys are happy about that. Preon was telling me a little bit about this guy's backstory. I really don't like this guy. Hearing that he's taking controllers and throwing them and taking people out of people's hands and throwing them and carrying on, that's grounds for an ass whipping. It really is. However, I'm sure for the Smash community, this is, the door is open for you now. It's a step forward for the Smash community. Also, the physical release of J-Stars Versus Plus may be exclusive to the PS4 in the US. That's right. So PS3 owners, I'll put it like this. If you want it, you know what to do. Start letting them know. Also, in more news, Ultra Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter X Tekken, as you know, Versus Tekken, is heading to NVIDIA's Shield console, okay? Also, in more Street Fighter news, there's a new Street Fighter game in Japan that lets you pit Street Fighter 3's Ryu, however you like to say it, versus Street Fighter 4's Chun-Li in Street Fighter Battle Combination, I believe it's called. So also, in more Capcom news, Capcom will add Resident Evil Revelations 2 local co-op to PC. So let me get this straight, Capcom. After what happened with the mods, and they had to do it themselves, gamers did it themselves, now you want to put it on there. Are you serious? It took you that long. You know what? Let's just keep on going. Capcom, remember Me Too. For those who are fans of this game, remember Me. Remember Me Too, the main story has been written, so get ready for your sequel, okay? Also, in more Capcom news, The Legend of Zelda, that's right, for the Wii U, Legend of Zelda weapons and armor now is available for, not the Wii U, for the 3DS, is now available for Monster Hunter 4. That's right, so you're getting Link stuff and, all Legend of Zelda stuff. Now I need to talk about, Ninja Theory here for a minute. Devil May Cry. Let's talk about Devil May Cry. Just for a minute. Okay, I want to talk about this for a minute. For those who don't know, Devil May Cry Definitive Edition has come out now. And people are still trying to praise this to the moon now. And it's funny because we are seeing all these things, these changes. As you know, it's already been reported that 60 frames per second is not locked, so it can drop during combat or any time in the game. That's right, so once again, Definitive Edition still can't do 60 frames per second. However, check this out. Ninja Theory cuts one of DMC's most sexually aggressive lines for Definitive Edition. That's right, they cut the line out. It says, Mundus, it says, I will control the world through depth and have absolute power. Lilith, the world at last is your bitch as I am. Nothing left but to grab it by the hair, bend it over, and it says Mundus grunt, and it says Lilith, what's the matter? Wait, what's the matter? Now, let me get this straight, all right? You pull that line specifically out of the entire game that is trash. That's right. That's what you pull. Out of all the lines you could pull. Out of all the lines you pull, that's what you pull. Seriously? You know what? This story was so bad that now the media, the very same media that tried to plug it and say it was great, is now saying that the game was a train wreck. This is the article. Matter of fact, in the info bar, I'll put another article that praises DMC's Definitive Edition, and the writer admits that he likes this version because it's easier to play, because he doesn't have to think so hard, so he doesn't have to remember so many things. He actually admits this in the article! In the article! It's amazing the casualization of Devil May Cry has become. Like I said, I'll put it in the info bar for you, but while that's going on, you have to understand that we've seen a lot of things as of late. Like I said, I always show you the industry, gamers, and how people react to certain things. Well, for those who don't know, not too long ago, okay? You know, trolls troll. They do their thing online, you know, and they record it. However, it got to a police officer. They trolled a police officer, and he decided to say that he was going to kill niggers like you. That's right. On the street. He gets paid to do it.
Write it down.
Nigga, I got the shit written down, nigga.
Write it down.
And once you see them
Let
bullets
me tell you
flying, it's a
something.
done deal.
You about to come to a fucking paid police officer's house.
Nigga,
I
I'll
get
give-
paid to beat up niggas like you.
Nigga, what?
I get
nigga?
paid to fucking
What,
beat up
nigga?
niggas like you.
You a cop, nigga?
I will fuck you
You
up.
fireball,
You
nigga?
damn right I'm a fucking cop.
Now, to be fair, I will put the entire video in the info bar where the person who made the video says this was only a trolling video. He's not going around trying to hurt police officers of that nature. He urges people who are watching the video to not report the police officer so he doesn't lose his job. Well, there is an update. That police officer lost his job for that online. So it goes to show you when you're doing things like this, you're actually causing people harm. But of course, people don't care, right? Because it's supposed to be all in good fun. You have to understand, you don't know who's on the other end of that connection when you're acting like this. Because, as we all know, you wouldn't act like that in real life. And the fact that you did that to a police officer, and like I said, the person urged clearly said, hey, look, don't report this, don't report him. Cop still got reported. So it doesn't matter. Like I said, the door was already open. Even though you're telling people not to walk through, they did it anyway. So that's your responsibility at that point. It's sad to see it happen, you know, but it goes to show you that if you can get under people's skin, no matter their profession, they can lose their job with no problem. That's how the internet works. That's why you see a lot of people here on YouTube, all right? When you see all these people, I got to keep making videos so I get paid and blah, blah. Yeah, because their job is pretty much meaningless, or they don't have a job. If you have an important job like this police officer does, you are in very, in grave danger, in jeopardy of losing that when you say comments like that. But while we have police officers losing their job, we also have gamers making the front page of the news, or should I say the back page of the news, when they talk about stabbing people and wanting blood, and they want pain. So my question to you is, where is the gaming media to distance the community and the industry from this situation, from the regular media? Where are they? No, they're too busy trying to throw you under the same bus, aren't they? Gamers are killers, they're harassers and rapers, they're misogynists. Do you understand that they're wasting so much time that they've become the very thing that they hate? Do you see that? It's pretty sad that this is where they go. However, I do want to move on to some news. Now, last week we talked about Rock Band and Guitar Hero and if they're coming back. And I'll put it like this. Guitar Hero is back for the PS4 and the Xbox One. So get ready for Activision to milk the hell out of that again. Also, Rock Band 4 is for PS4 and Xbox One. It is not coming to the Wii U or the PC. That's right. And they say because of complications and things of that nature. Look, I'm not trying to hear that. As far as I'm concerned, because one of you guys told me on Twitter that HarmonX actually follows me. I didn't know this, okay? But they should know better than this. Seriously, when you have so much DLC, you have about, 2,000 pieces of DLC? There's no way that people who bought all that DLC on the PS3 and on the 360 should be forced to move up in the generation. that should not be, that should not happen at all. As far as I'm concerned, you are doing a disservice. We will talk about that later about cross-generation and what is going on there. But also, I want to let you know that Rock Band 4, for those who are interested, I will put the behind-the-scenes video in there where they sit here and say how much DLC they have and what it took for them to get this back on track. Okay? Also, I want to talk about more DLC. Dying Light is about to give out free DLC, so for you Dying Light fans, you're getting ready to get it, okay? Also, there's a bar for gamers called Save Point Tavern in East Sacramento. Hopefully, it gets some love. Hopefully, a lot of people that are in that area actually go in and make it thrive so you can show that, look, there is a base for this, and if it's big, you can see other places move up and do the same thing. You know what I mean? Also, I want to talk about this real quick. Bungie. Yep, Destiny. You knew it was going to happen. You knew, right? Bungie knew about Destiny's secret loot cave. They just didn't think that you gamers cared. Why would you think that, Bungie? Why wouldn't you think that gamers would care about that? As much as they're going to comb through your MMO, I don't care how much you try to say it's not an MMO, that's what it is. You're going to tell me that they're not going to search for every little facet in your game? You know that people do it. You know people look for Easter eggs. You know they're just going to keep doing that. For everything that you've run across, you actually said that you didn't think that gamers would care? What the hell's wrong with you? But there's more. Bungie is working on a fix for lost items in Companion app. That is just, come on. That's unacceptable. But you want to know what's even more unacceptable? You know how Bungie talked about this 10-year plan? About how they were going to, keep Destiny going? Yeah, we just found out how they're going to do this. And this is straight from their articles, because you guys and girls sent it to me. Bungie, not just Bungie, but Activision in general, they're going to make this a 10-year plan, yeah. Because they're going to release Destiny every 2 years. I find it absolutely sad that you have to milk your fan base that way instead of just trusting them to keep to keep what you have going, the core, parts of your game, to keep that longevity going. I understand expansions, I get that. But you're already making a Destiny 2, and then you're going to keep going just to get your fan base to keep interested. That is pathetic. I'm just saying, it just is. Now I want to move on. Metal Gear Online. We talked about this before. I believe I did, a video about when it was shutting down before, and then people were fighting to get it back up. Well, Metal Gear Online will be coming back with the new Metal Gear. That's right. It will be coming to the PS3 and PS4. What I will do is I will put the video, the developer diary explanation, in the info bar for you, so you can see exactly how it plays, what to look out for. Now, I'll put it like this. I watched this video, and you can't tell me that players are going to play exactly like that. We know anybody who played Metal Gear Online, it was just insanity. It was random pandemonium. You got guys using the pole vaults and firing themselves across the board. Like, no one's going to be that stealth. However, they do explain a lot on what you can expect in this game online. Okay? Now, also, I want to talk about Square Enix. Yeah, for those who don't know. Square Enix asked, what games would you want next? You can't be this stupid, right, Square Enix? Gamers, tell me you did not decide to give Square Enix any suggestions at this point. Because for years, you have been telling Square what you wanted, and Square ignored you. Did they not? For years you've been telling them, then all of a sudden it's, hey, tell us what you want. No, you know what this is? This is, hey, bail us out of financial problems. That's what it is. Because for every time someone said, we need a new Parasite Eve, and not that third birthday crap, alright? We're talking about PS1 mechanics, that battle system. You didn't hear us. No, when people said they wanted Final Fantasy VII, you didn't hear us. When people said that they wanted, The Bouncer, they wanted a sequel to it, you didn't hear us. When people said you wanted Ergoz, you didn't hear us. Another one of that, no, didn't want to hear that. When people said that you wanted Vagrant Story, you didn't hear us. There is a laundry list of games that people said we want back. And all you keep hearing is Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts. Why? Because that's all you've pretty much made this type of, this generation. Should we even go back to the Secret of Mana? Should we go back to Legend of Mana? I mean, come on. There's way too many games that Square has under their franchise that they could use, and they don't. Where's Chrono Cross? Where's Chrono Trigger? Like, come on! This is what I mean, Square. You don't want to, like I said, I don't want to hear this at this point. You've been told enough, and since you don't want to listen, now all of a sudden it's, hey, we're all ears. Gamers should be like, you know what? Nope, you didn't listen to us then, you burnt that bridge. Seriously, that's how I feel about Square right now. I do. Speaking of more Japanese companies. Sony. Sony's Yoshida says that PSN is under attack by hackers every day. That's right. Also, Sony, MS, and Nintendo are teaming up against DDoS attacks. Now, I want to say something right here, because you should know by now that when you say, oh, we're being attacked, remember, Sony is the company that said, come and get us. They told hackers, you can't break our network. Come get us. And now you brought this on your own. It's not a one-and-done deal. It's like, okay, you got us, that's it. No, because we saw what happened afterwards. Sony, MS, Nintendo, I understand that Nintendo never had anything to do with this and they just want to secure themselves. But look, y'all opened up this box of online play. Y'all did, because y'all want us to stay on your network instead of being in arcades and playing like we used to do back in the day. Oh, we don't have PlayStation 1, the poorer neighborhoods. Everyone was at the arcade. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. But that's alright, though, right? That's what y'all do. Like I said, y'all brought this on yourselves. So if anyone's going to pay for PSN or Xbox Live, even though you're paying for a service, you know that it can still be breached. They need to do more if they're going to sit here and complain about DDoSing and attacks. They need to do more. That's simple, okay? Now, also, in more company news, the PS4 suspend feature includes a new update. It is included in a new update. Also, Xbox One automatic DLC feature, download feature is under consideration. I can see this going badly. Unless they have some way to say, hey, are you, we're going to, you let them know what games that you want the DLC for, and then they automatically download it, and then take the money right out of your wallet. I have a problem with that. I mean, unless something like that happens, don't expect much. I'm just saying, I just think it's a bad idea for automatic downloads on DLC. Let the gamer, the consumer, still have their choice. It doesn't take long to go through your store, search through what's going on, and click on a button. It doesn't. You don't need automatic updates like that. Automatic downloads, I'm sorry. You don't need that. That's just way too much, in my opinion, okay? I'm not trying to hear everyone's time is precious, because if that's the case, then nobody will be playing games. Just saying, okay? Now, also, I want to move on, because no Xbox Live gold needed for online play on Windows 10. Just to let you know. And because of that, there's been an article written saying, so if Xbox Live is free on PCs, and they have Windows 10, then why do gamers have to pay for Xbox Live on the Xbox One or Xbox 360? Makes sense. We've been saying this for how long now? But people are still going to pay. They're still going to pay. Anyways, I do want to talk about, like I said, I want to talk about cross-generation and platforms and things of that nature. For those who don't know, there's been an article written, old cross-generation titles are nearly extinct in 2015. Remember, these companies said, we're going to support the PS3 and 360 for, they said, at least 5 years? And yet we're seeing this move so quickly because they want to push you so quick into those new consoles when it's up to you if you really feel as though it's worth it. Like I said before, I've stated many times, I don't feel it's worth it yet. However, you have to understand that you have to support what has brought you to the game. Look how long Sony, supported the PS2 when they had the PS3. So as far as I'm concerned, this is something that you should not be doing. You should be giving, older generation, that previous generation of gamers, you have to give them some stuff. You can't just sit here and say, we're just going to cut you off and that's it. That's absolutely ridiculous. And it shows just how much you really care about consumer loyalty as well. We didn't have these problems back in the day. Just not a couple years ago we didn't have these problems. But yet, they're just going to keep pushing till you're done. But like I said, that's what they want to do. And people keep thinking that if you get these new games, that, they're nice, they're shiny, they're great. Sometimes you got to go retro, and you're going to have some really good fun with some retro games. If those don't know what I'm talking about, there's a new game coming out not too long ago called, It's called 20XX. That's right. So 20XX. And for those who don't know what it is, it's the game that Mega Man should have been, that possibly Mega Man X should have been. And a lot of people are saying this, a lot of writers are saying this, a lot of gamers are saying this. So for those who have not seen 20XX, let's check out the trailer. looks really good, especially the multiplayer aspect. And I want to say this now, because while we're sitting here looking at retro games like that, now we got to go back to the new games real quick, because here we go with more problems. For those who don't know, Battlefield Hardline will be 900p on the PS4 and 720p on the Xbox One. So here we go with more resolution. You know gamers get nitpicky with this type of stuff. You know they're going to get upset. It's just, this is what it is. You know what I mean? And I guarantee you that longevity, when it comes to it, I guarantee you 20XX is going to have more longevity than Battlefield Hardline. As we know, when it comes to Battlefield and things of that nature, you know, those type of games, people play them for 3 months, then they stop playing them. And then they wait for the next one to come around, then they complain that the next installment wasn't good, and go back to the old installment. And then, this is what they do time and time again. But speaking of retro games still having longevity, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, Sega Genesis. That's right, for those who don't know. So Sega Genesis gets a new horror game. That's right, the Sega Genesis. I will put the link in the info bar if you are interested. That's just crazy. Also, in more news, in modern gaming news, you know, Helldivers glitch wipes data when your PS3 or PS4 controller dies. So if a gamer is playing, you know, look, first off, I don't think most of our controllers are going to die anyway, but you also have to understand, your data should not be erased when your controller dies. That's crazy. That's just, what's the point of playing it? You're taking a risk every time you play. That's absolutely ridiculous. But also, for those who don't know, I got to talk about this because, you know, it was so hyped up, and so many YouTubers hyped it up, and I've been talking about for a while, Evolve. And for those who know what I'm talking about, not many people are playing Evolve on the PC. That's right. It took a nosedive. For those who don't know, see the chart. Let's check it out, because first, let's look at the top of the chart when it comes to PC games. And third from the last is Evolve. Talk about a fall from grace. Damn, seriously, that's not just a nosedive, that's a crash and burn as far as I'm concerned. It hasn't been out long enough to, you know what, let's just move forward, okay? Because speaking of more of nosedives and letting goes and crashes and burns, alright, Activision loses the trademark related to the Tenchu franchise. Activision, when are you going to give Stealth Assassin fans their stuff back? Seriously, they've been waiting for a Tenchu game for so damn long, and yet, still non-existent. Still non-existent. I don't understand this. You know what? Let's just move on. I want to talk about some more positive news. Actually, some challenging news for those who don't know. Computer Brain learns to play retro games, then beats human opponents at it. There's your challenge right there. Take that computer down as far as I'm concerned. There hasn't been a computer yet that gamers cannot knock down as far as I can. Seriously, take that on. And also, in positive news, all right, because I'm going to end this. In positive news, Happily raises $1.5 million for kid-friendly internet video, game, and toy platform. That is great to see as far as I'm concerned. I want to say that I'm done with this now because I don't need this information anymore. But understand, everything that you have seen today is still on the same level. It's almost like it's just a repeat of last week when it comes with these people. Like I said, it's usually the usual suspects wanting attention. Also, your media acting the way they have while ignoring bigger issues. Because let's be honest here, people. A guy going around saying that he wants blood and pain, and of course they link it to video games. No one wants to talk about that, though. It seems like people have lost priority, and it's kind of sad because you should know, within all of this fighting that is going on, when it comes to games, this is how we started.